Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jets. NFL franchise kicked off. March Madness is here and much more. Welcome on into the Wise Guys podcast. I am John Tortorelli, Brand Capozziello, and Justin Ray. And today we have a lot of interesting topics to get to in the show. It's a special time of the year.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun. Yes, everybody, happy. Happy. What do you want? What do you
I'm
want?
sorry, I was just I got lost when he did that in my mind. I was like, wow, that'd be a perfect time intro song, and then I had an intro song in my brain. My bad.
Right. Well, but no, all right. But actually, when this episode gets released, I don't know if it'll be later today or tomorrow. But happy St. Patrick's Day! Happy belated St. Patrick's Day! I know everybody's gonna, be getting wasted, but just be safe, everybody. But yeah, like John said, we got a lot of big things happening. UFC 286 is this Saturday in London. Let's talk, though, some free agency.
Yeah, that's not the only big thing happening. Let me just mention the World Baseball Classic and how it's sweeping the nation and how electric that is. Puerto Rico just knocked out DR last night. Electric game, 5-2. Shouts out to Francisco Lindor. If you're not watching the World Baseball Classic, then you're not a real baseball fan. I'll tell you that much.
You're right, Justin. I'm not.
I'm not either, so. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't pointing it. I'm telling the fans because I gave up on you guys for that.
Wait, Justin, so they're playing right now, Japan and Italy?
Yeah.
That's interesting because they're not even like top 5 trending on Twitter right now worldwide. So that's
I mean, how many people are watching at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Well, you just said everybody should be watching, so I'm just saying.
I'm watching.
On FS2?
Yeah.
You want to know what I've been also watching? Aaron Rodgers. Pat McAfee show. Over 400,000 views on YouTube. That'll break the platform. Aaron Rodgers, Justin, had a long diatribe about his darkness retreat. I could not care any less. But what I did care about was the ultimate thoughts. Where am I going to be taking my talents in this upcoming September? And for Aaron Rodgers, his intention is to play for the Jets. I don't know how else to say it, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers is the most overhated Hall of Fame quarterback, at least in my time as an NFL fan. By far.
Overhated? Overhated in what sense? I feel like maybe he's taken more crap over the last 2 years than an entirety of his career, though.
So why do people not like Aaron Rodgers? 'Cause I've seen a lot of the reaction to it. It was mostly negative, I feel like, by non-Jet fans. They were super excited to get their first franchise quarterback in 50 years.
Yeah, so what I would say is I see where you're coming from, John. He is up there. The reasons why people, I guess, aren't fans of him or don't really like him are, he comes off as, I'm not saying this is my opinion. He comes off a little pretentious, know-it-all. I'm better than you. Like there's those character traits. I mean, he's an alpha. We all know that. You've got to be an alpha to be in the position that Aaron Rodgers is, and some people don't like that. My thing, I told you guys that I didn't like Aaron Rodgers for a very long time during the 2010s. But that had nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. That had to do with the media and everybody pushing that he is better than Tom Brady. And I was not having any part of that. That was my issue. It was nothing with Aaron Rodgers. I've come to actually, over the past 3 to 4 years, come to actually really, really like Aaron Rodgers and start to be more of a sympathizer for him. So I'm kind of on your train, John. But I do see where people are coming from where they don't get on with Aaron Rodgers because you would have to be a fool not to see. There's something like the way he comes off and he talks. It's, I'm better than you and you know it kind of thing. Shout out MJF. Yeah, so that's really why.
I could see that, but it's not like he's getting into welfare scandals like his predecessor. And you want to know why I think people don't like Aaron Rodgers? It's because we attach the stigma that he is this playoff choke artist, which is lazy. In 2012, the Giants hung up 37 points on his defense. What could the guy really do? The following year, Colin Kaepernick and Frank Gore combined for 300 rushing yards, and the Niners hang up 45 points on the Packers defense. What more can you do when they're icing out the clock running the ball down your team's throat? I didn't know Aaron Rodgers played defensive tackle. In 2016, I'll get to that in a minute. In 2014, Brandon Bostic missed an onside kick that cost the Packers. I mean, come on. They would have went to the Super Bowl that season.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, unlike Russell Wilson, he probably wouldn't have thrown the worst interception in franchise, or not only franchise, but Super Bowl history. 2015. What we forget about Aaron Rodgers is his game-saving, overtime clinching Hail Mary to send the game to OT, where the Cardinals win the coin toss, and he never gets a chance to get a rebuttal in overtime. They score in 1 minute. His top 2 receivers in that game, do you guys want to take a guess?
In the game against the Cardinals?
Yes. Hint, it is not somebody that's still in the NFL.
It's Jordy Nelson's not.
He tore his ACL back.
Yeah, he was injured.
With Donald Driver or James Jones, one of them?
Jeff Janis and Jared Abaritis.
Jeff Janis is the one that made the catch in the end zone, right? Yeah.
Jeff Janis, I kind of vaguely remember. The other guy does not ring a bell.
He played 2 more seasons in the NFL. In 2016, what people forget, it seems like, when they attach this Ron Stigman Aaron, is his 3rd and 20 completion down the field, Jared Cook. Phenomenal throw. Even better catch. Great play. I mean, we attach these stigmas to Aaron like he was the one playing defense in 2019 when the 49ers had, what was it? I deleted it. Over 200 rushing yards. Raheem Mostert 4 touchdowns on his defense. Aaron Rodgers has not had a top 5 defense since he won a Super Bowl in 2010.
And you missed the game against the Falcons when they got absolutely torn up.
44 points. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I've been long on this train, and I've said it since we've really started this podcast, how Aaron Rodgers really gets a bad break for all those postseason losses. Not all of that is on him. And like you said, John, he can't do everything. The guy's throwing for nearly 300 yards a game in some of those games that you're mentioning. And we sit here and we clown Aaron Rodgers and keep on talking about his personality or, stuff that we don't like about him. But year after year, he does the same thing. He wins football games. He plays efficient football. He's the most talented quarterback probably ever. And he gets knocked each and every time. And people that are going hard on this move to the Jets saying, the Jets are going to be the same old thing. This is a little bit different. I think Aaron Rodgers is coming in here a lot more motivated to play some football than what he was the last year going into Green Bay. I think people need to watch out. I think the Jets are really about to take flight with this.
See, John, I do hear what you're saying. Another reason why that ringing my bell while you were talking of why people don't get on with Rodgers, this is more recent too, is the immunization comment.
I didn't want to go there, but
I know, but like we're talking about why certain people don't like Aaron Rodgers, and that was a big thing. He kind of blatantly lied to everybody about that. So listen, that's everybody's own prerogative if they want to do that or not. But whatever. I do want you to, but like
you mentioned that, but that's big. That's a big reason why I say over the last 2-3 years, you've seen more, I guess, of a hatred towards Aaron Rodgers. But before that, I don't remember it being nearly as prevalent as it is now.
No, yeah, because back then it was he's a diva. But yeah, I mean there are some moments, Sean, like you would be that he did come up short, like the Tampa Bay game. You wanted it in your house. You called for, I want an NFC Championship game in Green Bay, in the frozen tundra, on home field. You got that. Now we can argue until the cows come home about Matt LaFleur not going for it on fourth and goal or fourth down, whatever it was. But you had first down, second down, and then the third down play where you made a terrible decision trying to force it to Devontae in double coverage when you could have, in all honesty, ran straight to the pylon and probably gotten the touchdown. Because we've all seen Aaron Rodgers do that before. So we got to put a little blame on him there too. But I understand what you're saying, where his defenses have come up short a lot of the time over the last 10 years since his one championship in against your Pittsburgh Steelers.
And more times than not.
So I'm kind of forgetting which game it was that his special teams failed. And was that the game where they had the blocked punt and was that San Francisco? Which one was it? So I might be drawing a blank here, but one of those two games, didn't get helped out.
The Tampa Bay game?
I think it was San Francisco. I'm thinking of.
I was just talking about
the following year. Special teams screwed him over, but you got there.
Yeah, I was just talking about the Tampa Bay game where the opportunity was right there. You had
you're right.
Your shot to get it.
Defense had 3 interceptions on Brady.
Yep, they showed. That's not they showed up. They did their job. Like over the last couple seasons, I know John. In the regular season, they've had some low moments, and you don't like how the defensive coordinator has called the plays and schemed up his players. But they've had the talent over the last 3 years on defense. Sometimes they've been a little nicked here and there, but in the playoffs, 2 years ago, dude, in divisional round against San Francisco, your defense held them to 13 points.
That was the game where special teams, kind of had a block punt that led 7 points.
I know, but like if I were to told you before the game the Packers defense is going to hold the 49ers to 13 points, you would have said that Aaron Rodgers has to get that job done, has to get it done. He just does, because you're Aaron freaking Rodgers and you've got a good team. And then this last year too, against Detroit, win and get in. I believe that was in Green Bay too, right? That was in Green Bay. You had your chance, came up short. Now, now talking about the Jets move, right, which has not been fully agreed upon. I guess they're still going over some details. Let's dive into this. What do we think the compensation is going to be? Because I have a pretty good. I want to hear you guys. I have a pretty firm belief on this.
Okay, so I'll be honest. I don't think Green Bay has leverage. I really don't. I don't think Green Bay has leverage. The one team that's out there actually going balls to walls for Aaron Rodgers is the Jets. They're already limited. They can't trade him inside the NFC. So you're forced to trade him to the AFC. And the Jets are the only team willing to make this deal go through. So you're stuck. Your hands are behind your back. You got one team to negotiate with, and you have to get what you can out of it. The guy's 39 years old, was 90% sure he was going to retire this offseason. 10% chance he would come back. And I'll be honest with you. Is that worth multiple first-round picks? I don't think so. So if I'm the Packers and I'm thinking fair compensation, if you think you're getting multiple firsts out of me, you're nuts. Absolutely nuts. I think the package back then for Brett Favre, and while I get it, this is old times, new quarterback. I think what did the Jets get? Give up in return a third?
They have just one conditional draft pick.
One conditional draft pick. Now, obviously, Jets fans would prefer that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to have to give up a few twos. How many second-rounders did the Jets have this year? 1 second-round pick. You're going to have to give up a second, maybe a fourth, and a player. But you can't be giving up first-round picks. Not for, like I said, 90% sure he's going to retire. The Jets don't know how committed Aaron Rodgers is going to be after this upcoming season. So this is a move that you're making for the next 3 years at least to be in contention. You're getting a quarterback that's uncertain that he'll play even beyond that. So I don't think you can go that big and give up a first-round pick. That's way too much. Jets have bigger plans.
A-Rod strategically. Shout out to Aaron. What a way to lower your trade value, other than going to the Pat McAfee show, saying, you know what, I was thinking I was going to retire, and also I intend to play for the Jets. Who else in the market? It's just New York. And so when you look at the Russell Wilson package, which we compared to he's not getting traded for 2 firsts, the holdup here, I believe, is on 1 first-round pick. I'm willing to bet on like Favre, who was traded for a 4th. They're probably going to look to move New York. 1 second, maybe a 3rd, and a day 3 pick. Perhaps a player in there too, on the defense. That for Green Bay is not as enticing because you want the 1.
So yeah, you guys are 1,000% wrong on this. The Packers are in the catbird seat, and I don't understand how you're not seeing this. They have what the Jets want, and when I have what you want, I am in full control of the situation. Full control. Because you want to know what? If I'm the Packers, Jets, you want to win a Super Bowl? How bad do you really want to win a Super Bowl? You don't give me the first-round pick this year. Just this first. I don't want to. We won't ask for multiple because the report is that Green Bay's not asking for multiple first-round picks. You give me the 13th overall pick this year. Maybe we could talk a little other compensation, third, a player, whatever. But I need the first this year. And you get Aaron Rodgers. And then you get to contend for a Super Bowl. So I'll ask you, everybody and their mother is saying the Jets are a quarterback away. Quarterback away. Aaron Rodgers is more than just a quarterback. He is one of the quarterbacks. So if you believe you are a quarterback away and you get one of the quarterbacks, what are you willing to give up? So Green Bay, full control. I'm in the catbird seat. I'll take the cap hit. I'll take it. Because guess what? You're not just going to fleece me for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You're not going to do that. That's not happening. We've seen the Falcons eat Matt Ryan's contract. We've seen the Eagles eat Carson Wentz's contract. We've seen this before, guys. Teams are willing to eat contracts. You're not going to just take this amazing piece I have for a third round. Are you out of your mind?
Packers want him out. And
doesn't matter.
Reason why
then guess what? Justin,
are
you forgetting the Carson Palmer? Are you forgetting what happened with Carson Palmer? When he wanted out of Cincinnati, what did Cincinnati do? I'm not trading you. Freezing your contract. Go ahead and retire. Your contract is frozen now. Yeah, we've seen this. They will do it. They will. You don't think you're out of your mind if you don't think that.
There's $60 million that the Jets are willing to take on. No other team is going to do that.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter
to make the trade with the Jets.
No, it doesn't.
They're going to get what they can. Nope. If they get a first, that should be sufficient enough.
Just a first. That's what I'm saying. I want the 13th overall pick this year.
That's it. That should be enough.
So you want
anything else?
So I'll be honest, Justin, hold on, wait. You're the Jets. I'm the Packers. Mm-hmm. You're offering me just the 13th overall pick this year for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing to that.
Maybe
have fun with Zach Wilson.
Maybe the 13th overall pick and a 4th rounder.
See, now we're getting somewhere, right? You see how I walked him into it, right? I'm not agreeing to that. Wait, I really need Aaron Rodgers. I want it because you want what I have. You see what I'm saying? You want what I have. You really want what I have so badly that you believe you can win a freaking Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So if that you want so bad, you see how easily I walked you into getting a 4th round pick.
Yeah, now but think about if I can get how much is that really sacrificing for the Jets? Not that much. If I have to, I'm just saying at least it gets the conversation going. You see how quickly I got you into a 4th. It's so easy once the conversation gets rolling. How quickly they can get you. If I'm the Packers, I'm not agreeing to anything until I believe I am getting a sufficient supply back. Simple as that. And if I don't feel that way, good luck with Zach Wilson then, Jets, because Derek Carr's off the market. I forget who the other big guy is. Lamar, you want to go get Lamar? Go ahead and get Lamar. Go give up 2 first-round picks then. Go ahead. And pay him $200 million guaranteed. Go ahead. We'll take the hit from Rodgers, tell his ass to retire, and we'll be on our merry way.
Okay, so now you lose on a top 50 pick and a 3rd that you would have had because there's no other team giving up assets.
No, I'm not saying I wouldn't agree to that deal, though. I'm just saying until you guys got to list a sufficient supply back. I don't know what that is. We would have.
We're negotiating now, Brand. This is not. We're not friends.
I like the first. He said 4th. I don't like that.
You think we can still talk though? A 1st and a 3rd, or 1st and a 2nd.
If we take out the 3rd, Brandon, we'll give you a 1st round pick in 2026.
No. I want the.
That could be valuable in Aaron Rodgers retires. You're low on Zach Wilson, Brandon.
No, I don't want Zach Wilson. The conversation starts with the 13th overall pick. That's where it starts, right? Then we can talk. Maybe I want the 3rd round pick this year, maybe a 3rd next year, and then maybe I'm good with that. I feel comfortable. I feel a little more comfortable with that.
We really need a target though tackle at the 13th overall pick. We feel like we're still a piece away, and Aaron really wants to play for us, the Jets.
Or you're talking as
40 years old.
Yeah, no, I don't. Okay, but you need Aaron Rodgers to get that done, right? You're not getting Aaron Rodgers unless I'm getting that 13th overall pick. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. You guys see it the other way. The way I see it, the Packers are in the catbird seat. They have what the Jets want.
You guys have Jordan Love, Wayne. The Waynes, he may request a trade if Aaron Rodgers does come back.
No, I'm not. Listen to what I'm saying. I didn't say Rodgers is going to play. I'm not saying Rodgers is going to play for us. I'm saying we're going to tell him to retire. Go ahead and retire then. And
Really
we'll be on
missing
our
out on a
merry
top
way.
50 pick just to
Aaron
piss off
Rodgers
one of
is
the three
going-
greatest quarterbacks
Not
of all
pissing
time?
them off, guys. This is business. This isn't personal. Stop getting into personal things. This is business.
Do you think
I want
You
what
want
the
to trade the
best.
top three quarterback of all time,
nobody
right,
in
Brandon?
that Packers front office is going to sit there and tell Rodgers, "Oh well, retire then." No, that's not going to
They
happen.
don't want him, Justin. So why wouldn't they just?
They're not going to say, "Oh well, retire then."
They're not going to say that in that words, but they don't want him there. You just said that yourself 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, they don't want him there, but they're not going that. They're not going to straight up say, "Yo, retire." Go ahead.
So wait. So okay. Let's see this.
They can't.
They don't get the deal done. They don't
have it like that.
Justin, they don't get the deal done, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want him. So what do we do now? So they're bringing him back and benching Jordan Love, or are they saying we don't need your services anymore? So best of luck in your future endeavors, if that's a better way of putting it. You just said they don't want him anymore. If the deal doesn't get done,
which it will,
but I'm saying let's go hypothetical that it doesn't get done. Where does Aaron Rodgers go now if the Packers don't want him? What's the only option?
The Packers will keep him and start him.
You just said they don't want him.
They don't want him, but if they have him in the office, if they have him in that building, he's starting.
He's still in the building. Technically,
he's starting. If
I have what you want, I'm in the catbird seat.
Okay, that's fair enough, Brandon. We're not going to get the answer to this until they actually make this trade. And people were blaming Aaron for holding this thing up. It wasn't him. He even said, my decision was made a week ago. It's not being made today. This isn't 2010. Come on, guys. And I think when you look at this Jets team, I talked about it before. A top 5 defense, no matter how you want to slice it. The front 7, Quentin Williams. Back end, Ahmad Gardner. DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead. Linebacker, they're underrated there as well. Offensively, Breece Hall, that's an absolute superstar coming off a torn ACL. We'll see how it looks the first month of the season. Garrett Wilson, same can be said. You even add in Alan Lazard. I mean, I made this comparison. Aaron Rodgers getting Alan Lazard a 4-year, $44 million contract is the exact parallel I draw to the Nets signing DeAndre Jordan to a 4-year, $47 million contract in 2019. They're getting their boys paid. I don't think Alan Lazard's that good. He can block, he can't catch, and the size kind of is no good because he can't catch contested balls, but he does have speed. Alan Lazard, though, as your third receiver, is more than fine.
He is better than what Corey Davis was for the Jets, so
I'm not quite sure, Justin, to be honest.
I think they do improve in that department. And maybe Odell's next. Brandon, I think you're muted.
All right. I said I would say they're about similar guys, but the list thing, right? I'm not gonna say that this guy like Rodgers, literally handed them a list and said this is what I want or this is my wish list. But I mean, he did allude to it on the Pat McAfee show. Where did we talk? Were conversations brought up about guys that I've played with or guys that I want? I mean, he did only say guys that I play with when Odell was on that sheet. He never played with Odell, but that's neither here nor there. Probably guys that he would want. And listen, I tweeted this. Who gives an F? He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. He's earned the right to want demands. But what I will say is be careful, Jets. Be careful. Just be very careful because it's not about giving him what he wants. That's fine. It's the principle. You got to set a standard here. You do. You can't be pushed around. So just be very weary of what you give and what you don't give. Just a cautionary tale.
Joe Douglas is drafted too well to make a fool of Aaron like that, and that's my biggest takeaway. The only thing that Douglas missed on was quarterback, and now he gets one of the 3 greatest of all time. Now, Aaron had a down season. I don't think he's the quarterback he was 2 years ago when he got his first MVP. Technically, he's third, right? But Aaron still is, relative to Zach Wilson, 1,000 times better. So you look at the AFC East. The Dolphins have Tua, who can't stay healthy. The Patriots have Mac Jones, who they've yet to give that wide receiver a run. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And the Bills, their defense that we proclaim as this elite unit falls apart every year by injuries in the playoffs. So the Bills are not this powerhouse. I think the Jets next year are in great position to win the AFC East. And it's not because of how domineering the division is. It's because of how good but vulnerable each of those teams are.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, All the teams have questions in my book. All the AFC East teams. Now, I do believe they get Rodgers. The AFC East is comfortably the best division in football. I mean, the AFC. I'm gonna give the AFC North their respect because they're really freaking good too. So I would say those are probably arguably the two best divisions in football.
I do think the West enters that mix with the Broncos this year.
You'd really hope. You really freaking hope, don't you? We really are hoping because I do.
Not the Raiders with Jimmy G.
I think their offense will be prolific, but
the running game's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think they might not win a lot of games. They might be an 8-9 team, 7-9 team, where they're like this close to winning a lot of games. But where do I see the Jets? I have to right now currently constructed. I still believe the Bills are the best team in the division. And I think that the Jets, the Patriots, and the Dolphins are all right in the same category as of right now. As of right now. I have to see how the rest of the offseason plays out, how the draft plays out, and then leading into training camp in the preseason. But right now, those three teams are kind of all in the same thing, while the Bills are just like a half step above because they've accomplished more in the recent past.
As of right now, Aaron Rodgers in the Jets QB room, the Jets are the best team in the AFC East. I can say that comfortably. After what that Jets, you can shake your head all you want, but what that defense did to Josh Allen this past year in 2 games, if you just plug Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the offense, we're looking at a Bills team that gets swept by the Jets. So, and you put 12 on the Jets again against the Patriots in those 2 games, we lose that too.
Justin, let me ask you, because we had this conversation a week ago. If you know where I'm going with this, we knew Rodgers was kind of going to the Jets, pretty much like last week too. And I'm pretty sure when you made this proclamation, you knew that Aaron Rodgers was most likely going to be a Jet. So what changed in the last week?
I've thought that if him in New York.
No, you said the Bills.
Is trade value, that kind of
no. He said, I guarantee the Bills are going to be in the AFC Championship this
year.
You said that.
Correct.
So what changed?
What does that have to do with?
So the Bills are going to be the second best team in their own division, and they're going to get to the AFC Championship game.
Isn't that possible?
I know, but I just want to see where you have the Jet. Are the Jets going to be there too?
It's possible. I don't know. I will say
saw it twice a decade ago.
I will see the Jets winning that division this year. With Aaron Rodgers there, with whatever moves they plan on making, I wouldn't be surprised.
So wait, you can book that, but you can't book the AFC Championship game for the Jets
because I think the AFC is absolutely loaded. It's also.
Well, then what about the Bills? Then why are the Bills coming in second?
Because I've told you multiple times my unwavering confidence in Josh Allen to get it done in the postseason. I believe he will. That's all I'm going to say on that. But the AFC is absolutely loaded. Who knows who the Jets are going to run into come first round? What if they run into the Chiefs?
What if the Bills run into the Chiefs?
What if? Yeah.
See what I mean?
What if? The AFC is going to be an absolute dogfight.
I know. That's what I'm telling you. That's why I don't know how you booked the Bills for the AFC Championship game, the Jets to win that division, but the Jets aren't booked to the AFC Championship game either. That's where I'm just a little lost with you.
Hey man, it happens.
I need you to help find me, man.
I don't think I need to help you with that.
Just help me.
Just because I believe Buffalo, I really think more playoff experience right now in the AFC. I think they can roll through. I think they're, like I said, they're due. They're due. But I do see the Jets winning the division. I think Aaron Rodgers is amazing in the regular season. Now it's left to be seen what the Jets defense can do in the postseason. Mm-hmm. They're not experienced there.
Okay.
Well, they're young. They're getting better. Robert Saleh did a great job. Well, he is on the hot seat. That's a good important thing to mention here. Robert Saleh's done a great job with defenses in the past. And one of Robert Saleh's former teams in the Niners, they've been a team that's winning against the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game and the Rams. We've seen that before, so I'm not surprised if we were to see that again. Now, you put Aaron Rodgers on last year's Jets team, they're winning 13 games. I mean, to go from Zach Wilson for half the season, to Mike White, who was playing with cracked ribs at one point, Joe Flacco early on, the bar was so low last season. Aaron Rodgers, at his absolute worst, still has them making the playoffs with a convincing 10-11 wins. Their division will be tougher because they're not playing half a dozen backup quarterbacks. But the difference there, the discrepancy from Wilson to Rodgers, that's like a low-end backup quarterback to an upper echelon starter. That is the most important thing to take away from here. Not their division, not their schedule as much. Or their division, yes, but not as much their schedule being tougher.
I think as the AFC East currently constructed with Rodgers in the fold, Jets 1, Bills 2, Miami 3, Patriots 4.
I think the Patriots next year are finishing higher than one of those teams. They have the best defense and the best running game.
As currently constructed, yes. Now, the offseason, there's still plenty of time. I expect Bill to make some moves, but...
Patriots and the Jets' defenses are close, but I think you're sleeping on New England.
Without Devin McCourty? I don't think people are really talking about how big of a blow that is to our defense.
Helps on Belichick with the defensive backs, no?
Lost over the last 20
I understand that. Yo, you know what? Are we talking about the Patriots now, John, before I go into this?
Okay. New England Patriots.
Yo, Brandon, I'm going to be honest with you. You told me yesterday, for people watching, Brandon told me I was in Candyland because of a dream that I would love to see on the New England offense. I would have loved to see D-Hop and us draft a receiver in the first round and really just invest solely into that offense for Mac Jones. Brandon said I'm living in Candyland, and then goes on to tell me that a trio of DeAndre Hopkins, Kendrick Bourne, and Tyquan Thornton is enough for Bill O'Brien, Mac Jones, and the Patriots, which is absolute nonsense. Because if D-Hop goes down, we instantly first off, there's no depth there. Kendrick Bourne didn't prove nothing to you in year 2 with the Patriots. You want to blame Patricia? That's fine. But there was nothing proven to you to be like, this guy belongs as our number 2 wide receiver easily. No, he is not. He's at best a 3. We have a 2 now in Juju. You have to invest in a 1. You have to get D-Hop. You still have to get speedsters out there because we lack explosiveness on the offensive side. And you think Kendrick Bourne as your number 2 behind DeAndre Hopkins is enough? That is crazy, Brandon. Yo, I swear. And then on this blew my mind. This is where I couldn't respond to Brandon, and I meant to respond to this message. When he says we overachieved last year. You had us winning 12 games. We underachieved. We played like crap. We were horrible.
You're not all right. First off,
overachieved.
You're not understanding when I said overachieved. Yes, one man's opinion could have been what it was. The overall opinion of the NFL universe was the Patriots are probably the third or worst team in that entire division. People thought the Patriots were dead in the water. Okay, so yes, they did actually overachieve. In my book, maybe no, what I had them. But in other people's books, they over-freaking achieved because nobody expected them to have as many wins as they did and compete like they did. Now, what I'm going to say to this, DeAndre Hopkins, Kendrick Bourne, Tyquan Thornton, that's not enough. It's not enough. What if Hopkins go down? What are we predicting injuries for? Nobody knows that. What if Patrick Mahomes goes down? What if Patrick Mahomes goes down?
Brandon thinks Tom Brady is still in New England.
No, how do I think that?
Tom Brady is there.
I think you guys forget you have Juju Smith-Schuster, so the Kendrick Bourne stuff doesn't matter. You get yourself a great number 2. Now you're just one piece away at wide receiver.
Hold on. How do I think Tom Brady is still in New England?
Explain. You have this confidence that we are still the class of the AFC East. We are not.
Since when?
What do you mean since when? We literally got waxed by Buffalo in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then every time we played them since, they have ran over us.
Okay.
Since Tom Brady left, this is not our AFC East anymore.
But when have I said that it is our AFC East still?
I'm saying the way that you talk and
because we still have Bill Belichick.
The comments, the Jets are gonna jet.
They are gonna jet. I still expect the Jets to jet. I still expect. That doesn't mean that
I expect the Jets to take off too, BC.
Hold on. No, that's not what I mean. I like what you did there. When I say the Jets are gonna jet, it's not me saying the Patriots are still the class of the AFC East. It's me saying I believe the Jets are gonna just be the Jets at the end of the day, even if they get Rodgers or not.
It'll be better than us.
Yeah, it's yet to be seen because they still haven't beaten us in how many games? How many games? All right. So, and yes, they got Aaron Rodgers, but we still got a freaking elite defense. All right. We still got Bill Belichick.
Maybe the most underrated defense in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. People still underrate our defense. I talk about our defense so glowingly, Justin, because we still have a class defense. Our defense is still class. Our offensive line, interior-wise, is great. Our tackles, we're working on them right now. Our running back, Ramondre Stevenson, he's taking a step forward, man. Fumble issues a little bit. Those can get put back. But he's taking a lot of step forwards, and he's explosive. Receiving-wise, Kendrick Bourne, we talked about it for the entire season and before the season. When this guy gets the ball in his hands, he makes plays. He was underutilized and put in the doghouse week after week after week by Patricia, Joe Judge, and whoever else. All right? Disrespecting him, not letting him get any playing time. And when he did, he would drop the pass because he's not in rhythm. He's not prepared. He's not ready for that because you're not using him. You're like, all right, go out there. I haven't freaking played. And all right, come back, and now you don't play the rest of the game. How do I get a rhythm? How do I get a rhythm? So now he can. I do believe he can be a very good number 2. He's a playmaker. We got D-Hop. I don't predict injuries. I'm not doing that. I'm going off of everybody's healthy because that's how you do it.
And D-Hop's been one of the most durable players the last decade.
Yes, he got injured, but he's been durable. And when we get into that injury thing and you start trying to predict injuries, we can't do that, man, because we can do that with everybody. We can go to the end of the day of doing this. So let's not do that, Justin. Let's not do that.
Like I said, what you predicted, what you would have been okay seeing, there's no depth behind D-Hop. It's just D-Hop or die. I'm
not saying that's it. Like, obviously, we would maybe draft a receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round, but I like those. I want to see what Tyquan Thornton's got because he did make a couple plays for us last season when he was on the field. And I feel like you forget what season we just went through, Justin, with the headaches of week after week with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge calling the offense. We got Bill O'Brien. He's proven with us.
Right. He's Houston, not the GM, which is
Alabama. He's been with Mac Jones. Comfortable, familiarity. He can make those. You don't think he can elevate Kendrick Bourne and put him into better situations? Tyquan Thornton, DeAndre Hopkins, Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson.
Schuster. He's an elite number 2.
Okay, and Juju too. I understand, but we're just going back and forth like this. Listen, I don't want. I did go real hard on Juju.
He's one of the most disrespected players, like Aaron Rodgers, dude.
Yeah, but because he does stupid stuff, John. All right, when you're like the
what
TikTok,
stupid stuff did he go on that Super Bowl run?
It's the TikToks, John.
It's the TikTok stuff, John. Bro? He was that was a receiver by committee job for the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid could pull you out of the freaking stands and say, "Go get me like 30 yards." All right, because you just scheme it up, and that's no disrespect to Juju, but we know that offense ran through Mahomes and Kelsey. That was the offense. Juju was a nice piece.
He was great in Pittsburgh, wherever they asked him to do.
When he was the number 2, he was great. When he was asked to be the number 1, did he ever get 1,000 yards?
When he was healthy in Pittsburgh as the slot in 2021,
did he ever get
he was
1,000 yards when he was the number 1?
He had 800 and 900 in his rookie season.
Brandon, the answer is no.
The answer is no. Okay, I'm fine if Juju is our number 2. My whole point with you guys is why I was so angry and why I went on a tirade is that we don't need a freaking number 2. Our whole issue for the last how many years, we need a 1. How many times have we said it? How many times does it need to be said? Why sign a 2 when you need a 1? And if you want to keep a 2, we had one. He was right freaking there. We could have it for the same money.
Maybe because Bill Belichick thought of Juju a little bit more than Jacoby Myers. Maybe that game versus the Raiders was
you get more in the yak department from Juju than you do from Jacoby. And with all due respect to Jacoby.
Like Jacoby had a better season than Juju this year. He played less games and had literally just.
All right, let's get into some nerd talk. How's Jacoby as a blocker? Because Juju is a amazing run blocker.
He's a willing blocker. That's all that I
Juju's great.
He's a willing blocker.
Juju's also one of the toughest receivers in the league that can play in the slot. He can work on the outside as number 2.
So can Jacoby.
And he's one of the best teammates, I feel like, that was in that Pittsburgh
locker room.
Myers.
The guy went from a quarterback to receiver. If that doesn't show you willingness and the value of being a great teammate, I don't know what does.
He was 0 for 1 when it counted this year as quarterback, so.
But all right, again, that's just like, all right, that means nothing to me right now because we're arguing between them two. He made a bad play, and that we all know that wasn't fully his fault. You're gonna hold that against him?
I'm just.
No, you're not. So I don't know why you brought it up.
He just wanted to.
You just wanted to take a shot because you were getting beat in the argument, and you needed to take a shot to get out of it.
Juju's a better player.
He's. I would give him a slight edge. He's more proven than Jacoby.
More proven, correct.
And he's played with Ben Roethlisberger and Patrick freaking Mahomes.
He's also played with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges.
And he played and
Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his days when he
and he played in the system with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. The Jacoby had Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, and he almost put up the same exact numbers as Juju.
Jacoby had Tom Brady's rookie season and Mac Jones.
He had Tom Brady's rookie season where they did not connect, and he was transitioning from quarterback to receiver. And
Jacoby's a very good receiver.
He is.
He would have been way better in our system, but Juju will be fine, I'm sure.
Exactly. Like that's my whole thing. Is I'm not mad at Juju the player. I'm mad that we signed a number 2. We need a 1.
But I'm not mad at that because at the end of the day, if we re-signed Jacoby, we're getting a 2. Jacoby is not a 1. Jacoby is a 2 at best or a 3. And at the end of the day, you got to make that move now because you have time to negotiate a deal for DeAndre Hopkins.
Dude, I don't know how you see that fitting in the cap right now. I really don't. We've never splurged. When have the Patriots?
And that's the thing. So, BC,
2 years ago,
things need to change.
We did it 2 years ago, and what happened?
Yeah, because we brought in guys. D-Hop is not those guys that we brought.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we've only splurged once, and we see how it played out. I don't see us.
Man can learn from his lessons.
You'd hope. But it's just I don't see us putting that much money into the wide or Belichick putting that much money into the wide receiver position. I really don't. When this
why are you
it's a run first team. We're a run first team, guys. You remember that, right? We're a run first team. The Patriots are run first. We work off of play action.
So real quick, I'm confused. Are you upset that they didn't sign Jacoby, or do you want them to sign Jacoby? Because either way, they're giving him a 3-year, $33 million deal the way they just did Juju.
It's the point where I'm mad that because now I just feel like we're not going to get D-Hop. I just really feel like it because we made
if you resign Jacoby,
if we resign Jacoby, you thought
no, because I just feel like now Belichick's probably like, we've got our number 1 wide receiver. Maybe we'll draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, and that's really how I truly feel. And now I feel like DeAndre is just not coming, because I don't see us having 30 million hit this year from D-Hop, and I forget what Juju's is this year, 12 million or something like that. I don't see us having upwards of 50 million cap space or cap hit in the receiver position this year. That's ridiculous. I just don't see that, man. So that's why it was like, I wanted D-Hop, and if we were going to let Jacoby go, then we get D-Hop and we can draft a receiver in the 2nd, 3rd round. I would have been much happier than that, than what I think our current plan is.
The only way I can see us not making a move for D-Hop is if we draft a receiver in the 1st round. Have to go get a game changer immediately. Juju doesn't move the needle. We're in the same spot where we were last year. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. And then that's the move
you
that
need to go get
Belichick's making. I don't think Belichick thinks very differently than everybody else. I think that he thinks he can make Juju work. Bill O'Brien probably thinks he can get a lot out of Juju. He can be their number 1, and I just don't see it, man. I feel like we're not getting D-Hop. I truly do believe that we're not getting D-Hop now. That's why another reason why I'm so upset, because we just needed to get that number 1 receiver position out of the way. We got it, and now we can work from there. And
I do see where you're coming from a little bit, because they signed James Robinson to a 2-year, $8 million.
I'm not mad at that. I would have rather been drafting. I'd rather draft a running back, but I'm not. It's max value $8 million, so it's probably less than that.
Sure.
He probably won't actually see the full $8 million. But I'm not mad at that move. That's okay, whatever.
I could see us still drafting a running back too.
Yeah, I would have rather just drafted a running back, but it's fine. That doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah, because Damien Harris is probably gone.
Yeah,
now that you guys got that out of your systems, let's talk about the biggest winners of NFL free agency. For me, number one is the Jets. Yeah, first franchise quarterback in the millennium. So that's a good starting point. But should we go from like 5-1, 3-1? Do you guys have a list? How do we want to work this out?
A team that I have been seeing making some moves that I like is Carolina. Got to be honest with you. They've been making some good moves. Miles Sanders. Who else did they get? They got Shy Tuttle. I like that name.
From the Saints. Von Bell, 3 years, 22.
Bell.
The Bears are easily my number one right now.
They're easily your number one.
Tremaine Edmonds, man, what a move.
That was an overpay.
That's a good move.
Yeah, but you got the money to do it.
They got money.
So sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but why would you trade Roquan Smith, who's arguably the best linebacker in football? We saw it for the Ravens, just to give Tremaine Edmonds more guaranteed money, when Tremaine has not been anywhere near as consistent the last 4 years.
What was the contract difference between Roquan?
It wasn't by a whole lot, but Roquan got $100 million over 5 years, and Tremaine got $472.
I see where you're coming from.
I get that, yeah, but
I can't explain why they made that move. I don't think that they knew they were going to go get Tremaine Edmonds when they traded Roquan Smith. I think they were just trading him.
But DJ Moore to what?
My winner. How about them Cowboys, baby? What a move! Seriously, what a move for you guys. Gotta be serious. The Stephon Gilmore trade is a phenomenal trade. That was a weak point last year through the entire season. We saw when who was the number 2 corner, guys?
Jonathan Wilson.
No, that was the safety. That's their safety. Was it Anthony Brown that got injured?
Anthony Brown. No.
Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis before that. And then I forget the guy that substituted him. He was terrible. That's a safety too. That's safety. Whatever. Now you're hearing about it. Getting Gilmore covers a weak point. Now you got Diggs, who I honestly, for my money, if I was building a franchise and you said, who's your number one? Who do you want as your number one corner? I want Trayvon Diggs because I just love his intangibles, and I think he's still getting better as a cornerback. You got Diggs and you got Gilmore, Gilmore is one of the best technicians at the cornerback position. The guy is tactical as hell. All right. Studies the film. He's not going to beat you with athleticism. He's 32 now. I know he had surgery on his knee that was bothering him a lot. He's going to beat you with his tacticalness. Very Darrelle Revis-like. So I love that. They re-signed Donovan Wilson, John. They re-signed Leighton Vander Esch, who I thought that they were going to lose, and they got him for a pretty damn good contract because he's been injured. They kept another guy too.
Tony Pollard, and
they franchise tagged Tony Pollard. They cut Zeke, which is good. Open up some cap space. They did restructure Dak and Zach Martin's contract to open up some more cap space. They've been in contact with Bobby Wagner. I do think I think maybe the Cowboys are gearing up for one big move, whether that be maybe an Odell. I know Micah tweeted at DeAndre Hopkins, and Hop just tweeted the emoji of the shrugging emoji. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know if they'll be able to fit him in. But I like where the Cowboys are going. I think that a big free agent, that just got signed. Jamal Williams. I think he would have been perfect in Dallas as that, Zeke was that power back, the Thunder to Pollard's Lightning. I think Jamal Williams would have fit very nice as the Thunder. But I like where the Cowboys are going. I really do. I think they're making very smart decisions, the Dallas Cowboys.
You're saying you're in the NFC East. I'm going to go NFC East too, and I'm going to say the Giants.
You're a jabroni.
Nah, I'm going to say the Giants, man. Adding Bobby Okereke, a linebacker that's trusted, that can fit in that scheme, and then also the big trade.
Say his name again, Justin.
Okereke. You know how you say it?
I don't know. I just like how you said it.
It might be Okereke, but
Okereke.
He's a great player.
My bad, but very good player, and the Giants really needed a linebacker. Then you get Darren Waller on top of that, athletic freak at tight end. If he's healthy, with Saquon, with Daniel Jones, I think this offense has a lot of potential, and they still need a receiver on the outside. But I like what the Giants are doing so far, retaining Daniel Jones, franchise tagging Saquon. It's left to be seen. Is he playing under the tag or not? Or are they still going to negotiate something? I don't know. But having that in the fold, seeing the Giants make those winning moves while the Eagles are slowly, losing pieces, I think the NFC East is a lot closer than a lot of people think, as opposed to what it was last year. The Eagles were clear-cut your best team. Going into next year, I think the Giants and the Cowboys have a legit chance to take this over.
Yeah. And the Cowboys are the best cornerback duo in the NFL, arguably, right?
Cornerback? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So no disrespect to – because I think – did you guys see the reports last night from Schefter that apparently Darius Slay was never officially released.
Mm-hmm.
Still an Eagle. I guess they may be working for a restructure.
Yeah, they're planning on keeping him still. Yeah.
So I mean, but I no disrespect to them too. I just believe Diggs is a top 5 corner, and I still love Stephon Gilmore. I think Gilmore is better than Bradbury, and I think that he's right there with Slay. Slay is a little bit more athletic still. But yeah, I do agree with you, John. I think they have the best cornerback duo. Jordan Lewis will be coming back. I've always liked his intangibles, and hopefully he can stay healthy. One move that happened late last night as well, too. Shout out, Cincinnati ain't playing around. They ain't playing around with the offensive line. They're like, yo, we've had the worst luck for the last 2 years. We're spending. They spent, I think, $100 million last year, and they just gave Orlando Brown 4 years, $64 million. Shoring up that left tackle. I don't know what's going on where Jonah Williams, the guy that fractured.
Well, honestly, I think they're going to play Orlando Brown in his natural position on the right side.
No, he said, because he was adamant. Apparently, Orlando Brown was adamant. He wanted to play left tackle, and Cincinnati said, "We'll leave you at left tackle then." I think that's the report I saw. Because they have Jonah Williams. They still have Lyle Collins.
Towards ACL, no?
Towards ACL. I don't know. Maybe one of those guys might be moving to guard, or maybe they trade one of those guys. I don't know.
Because Brown got 4 for 64, 31 on a signing bonus.
Yep.
And that's right tackle money to me, $16 million. And he was better on the right side. When he moved to the left, he was a turnstile for half the season. And that's why Kansas City said, you know what, we're actually going to sign Jawan Taylor, who is a right tackle, and move him to the left. We have more faith in him developing. Because, look, Orlando Brown was great early on in Baltimore, but he's gotten worse every season since. Now, Justin, I want to apologize because I really interrupted you when you were talking about the Bears, and specifically Tremaine Edmunds. I did not like the Tremaine Edmunds contract for $16 million, but you were right. I mean, first off, DJ Moore, a wide receiver 1, is huge for Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. We could talk about that. TJ Edwards for 3 years, $20 million is a steal. $7 million a year from the Eagles. He had a monster last season. He's been really good for them. They had into Marcus Walker and Nate Davis, offensive guard. I felt like they had a good free agency, and they still have more cap space to spend. But my biggest winner, I think, is the Miami Dolphins. You add in, after Xavier Howard had a pretty bad season last year for his standards, Jalen Ramsey for a 3rd-round pick, that defense for Vic Fangio gets that much better. We talk about elite cornerback duos. If Xavier Howard gets back to that level next season with Jalen Ramsey across from him, their biggest deficiency, which was that secondary, gets so much better for Vic Fangio, who's going to have the personnel. I mean, that for the Dolphins was a huge move. And he added Mike White, who I saw Brand's not like. Mike White's a stable backup. And as you say, BC, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you've got none. They don't want to get in the drama. They don't want to get in the dysfunction or the quarterback controversy. They want to get a reliable backup who could come in and play at a really high level. They overpaid a little bit, I guess, for backup quarterback. Mike White got a nice 2-year deal, but he showed in New York the last 2 seasons. He can play pretty well. Or last season, I should say. But
could have went for Baker.
They're going to have to pay Baker more money, and they didn't want the controversy. I think that's a great decision for their part.
Got $8 million. Probably not even. That's probably his max.
What you're missing is that they want a stable backup and not someone that's going to add controversy.
Well, you need somebody that's going to, first off, push to it, and then when can come in, because there are legit questions if Tua can make it through this. And if he gets injured again, another concussion, there are legit questions. Is he going to retire? If that's the case, the business should be thinking about, again, I always tell you guys, I think about it from a front office perspective, from a coaching perspective. If I have those worries, those questions are in my head, I'm not going to be stuck with Mike White as my starting quarterback. No. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get me Baker Mayfield.
Make some calls to Tom, though.
What happened?
They'll make some calls to Tom, push comes to shove.
Tom's not coming.
Tua's not going to be her in August, though. Coming. Now, what the Dolphins also added was David Long from the Titans. 2 years, $11 million. Long was probably almost as good as Evans last year, but he was hurt, and he's dealt with soft tissue injuries. So you add in a linebacker. You re-sign Raheem Mostert, and also not Myles Gaskin, but Jeff Wilson, who they added. Wilson, one monster.
I love Jeff Wilson.
Big Jeff Wilson guy, Justin?
Yeah, I'm a big Jeff Wilson guy. Time in San Francisco, I think he can make some noise.
And they did actually extend Myles Gaskin. The question is, Also signed Deshaun Elliott, 1 year, $2 million. I like that on the back end. But the question is, what happens with Mike Gesicki? That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to let him walk since the tight end class is deep this year.
Mm.
Question for you guys. So I didn't expect this. I don't know if maybe John did because he was a little bit lower on this guy. But Austin Eckler requests a trade. Where do you think the best fit for Austin Eckler is?
Kansas City.
Look, he wants it, but you got to think he's going to wherever he goes, he's going to get the contract extension. They have to.
So what team would overpay a running back?
That's the thing. Who would do that?
Overpay a running back.
Who would do that? I mean, I think the guy scored 38 touchdowns over the last 2 years. John, you're muted.
That's not a bell cow, Justin. That too.
Yeah. Well, who needs a run? Who's in need of running? I think he might go to a contending team. You think, or can't go from the? I mean, but then again, he has no say in it.
Chicago has the money. The Falcons just spent a lot. They had a very nice class.
Chicago, I could see Chicago. That's a good shout.
Yeah, they just
all
lost
of your money
David
on
Montgomery.
linebackers and running backs. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where Eckler could go. Damn.
No idea. Honestly, I think his best place is staying right there in LA.
I mean, dude,
I'm
you're getting
trying to
Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore will be able to use you so much better now. Yeah. I mean, let's talk. Where's San Francisco getting this money from, guys? What's going on here? How is this possible?
Not resigning Mike McGlinchey.
That doesn't matter. I mean, just like, come on, what are we doing here? You see that defensive front now?
It's ridiculous.
What the hell is going on?
It's ridiculous.
I can't, man.
You add Javon Hargrave on a 4-year contract, $80 million. He got paid by the Eagles a few years ago, but after 11 sacks last year, plugging the gaps, the 49ers give Fred Warner the ideal defensive tackle to eat up 2 or 3 blockers. Javon Hargrave is an absolute beast. You saw with the Eagles how much of a difference he made. For Philadelphia, they lose him, but they have Jordan Davis. They're able to extend Fletcher Cox for a year. Man, I felt like for both of those teams, it was a smart move. But honestly, for San Francisco, losing Mike McGlinchey to the Broncos while they gain Javon Hargrave, that's going to sting. McGlinchey's an average pass blocker, but he's an elite run blocker at 6'7". And now for the Denver Broncos, they take him and Ben Powers from the Ravens. That and Christian Manhurt's one of the best run blocking tight ends. We're seeing a clear sign of moves by these Denver Broncos. It's that they want to build their identity around running the football. It's not going to be the way Nathaniel Hackett had it last season. They're going to do what made Russ his best in Seattle.
Yep.
They're going to have him go on rollouts, play action, shots, and really just have him play in his element. And for Sean Payton, the coach that Russell Wilson wanted in Seattle a year ago, this is perfect. You build up the offensive line. You get Garrett Bowles back, who missed half of last season, most of it at left tackle. And hopefully, Javonte Williams, if he takes a step forward, we'll see with the torn ACL. He also tore another ligament in there. Man, that Broncos offense could get right back to the level we're expecting them to with Sean Payton and a better offensive line. And if that's the case, I don't know how they're not a clear winner here.
I think also about the Broncos is, I mean, they're also apparently shopping both Sutton and Judy.
Which is interesting.
Yes. Well, because I think they're going for, like, we're going to run first team. I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a running back too. But they're also, I think Peyton's also looking to try and get some of those draft picks back because he's freaking empty-handed right now. I know they're looking for a first for Jerry Jeudy. Good luck with that. But yeah, I think John hit it on the head. The mission is clear for the Broncos right now. I like the moves they're making.
One more. Justin, you like Jeff Wilson? I like Samaje Perine. He runs tough. They signed him to a 2-year, $7 million deal. Speaking of good backups, Jared Stidham, the 49ers made him a lot of money. He gets a 10-year deal or $10 million contract, 2-year deal. I mean, if he didn't have that game versus the Niners, he's not getting that much money.
No. It's kind of like the Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
Matt Flynn contract.
But Matt Flynn got the bag.
Oh, yeah, he got the.
You know, guys, I know we were talking about Austin Eckler. I was just looking through the league. 2 teams that I would love to see him go to, Buffalo or Miami.
Miami, I think, has way too much of an abundance of running backs right now. Like we just saw, they re-signed 3 of their guys. But Buffalo, I could see that. I don't know where
I don't know how financially that would work, but man, that would be a nice boost on the offensive side.
I think you want a power back, and then you add in Eckler's to change the pace. And for the Dolphins, they don't have the power back. And the other team you mentioned was the Bills. They also don't have the power back. I think a place like Pittsburgh, where you have a Najee Harris, just I'll eat 20 carries a game. You can take 15 touches.
Two running backs, Sean.
Oh no more. No, I'm as a Steeler fan, I don't want him. But I'm saying a team with a heavy usage back that just needs someone to change the pace. He would be an elite number 2. That scores 1 million touchdowns. I get that. Charger fans probably looking like I have 2 heads. He's just not a number 1.
He's not a number, but he's also not a number 2. He is a number 1. I think you can give him 20 carries.
You can. But you really don't need to, because he's going to get, the receptions and the carries. So it kind of adds up at the end.
You rushed for over 900 yards over the last 2 years.
I think Eckler is like Darren Sproles, but what? That's what he is to me.
Yeah.
A supercharged Darren Sproles.
Nah, Darren Sproles was much more explosive to me. But
Eckler's makes up that though with physicality, just improve tackles a little bit.
But yeah, listen. There's still some. So who does anybody have the list of the current free? I know Pro Football Focus, I think, has
free agents.
If you can find that, I want to list off a couple more teams. The Browns get Dalvin Tomlinson, 4 years, $57 million. Their biggest need was not even Deshaun Watson, it was their defensive line. So they added that. Ogbonnia Okoronkwo, who in the second half of the season for the Texans was a stud edge rusher. They get him for 3 years, $19 million. They extend Ethan Poach, who had a really good season at center. He came in, wasn't expected to start, at 3 years, $18 million. That's a pretty good deal. And Juan Thornhill for 3 years, $21 million. He was good for the Chiefs in that secondary. So I liked their moves. The Bengals, to me, are a loser. We can get that out the way. You lose Von Bell and Jesse Bates, but extend Jermaine Pratt. They drafted Dax Hill to start in one of those safety positions, so you're only losing one starter there. But even still, that is a huge hit to a secondary that was already pretty thin at cornerback. So them, to me, are a loser, even if they do add Orlando Brown to the mix.
I do, guys. So Darius Slay is still officially Eagle. He tweeted, I think, like 12 hours ago or something. Back like I never left. Run it back. Eagles emoji. So he is officially still an Eagle. Did not lose him.
One last team. Guys, we got to talk about the Falcons. The Falcons have themselves a great offseason. You get Caleb McGarry for 3 years, $35 million. He was arguably the best run blocking right tackle last year. So you extend him for a great deal, $11 million. You get Jesse Bates for 4 years, $64. You get David Onyemata, 3 years, $35. I like that on that defense. You had more to that defensive front. It felt like they're way too thin there. And then you also had Jonnu Smith. He gets to reunite with his former coach, Arthur Smith. That's interesting. While also signing Lorenzo Carter from the Cardinals. Not the Cardinals, sorry, Chargers. 2 years, $9 million. And Taylor Heineke, 2 years, $20 million. Outside the quarterback position, I like what the Falcons are doing. I don't know why you're giving Taylor Heineke that much money when you know exactly. That's a stupid contract. You know what he is. I'm not paying him $10 million to be a backup. But you know what? Maybe Arthur Smith sees something in him. He doesn't even really fit the scheme, in my opinion. But
you're hating on Mr. Heineke. I got the list of top free agents still. So Slay, they still have Slay there as the one, but he's off the board. So Dalton Schultz is number 1 ranked, I guess. Free agent still left. That'll be interesting to see where he goes. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Wagner, Isaac Siamalu. Hopefully I said that. Siamalu. Jadeveon Clowney, who's cut, I think, yesterday. OBJ, Rocky Sin. What a name, dude. What a
Love
name.
It is.
What? His parents hooked him up. Dalton Reisner. I like the last name. Marcus Peters, free agent. One of you guys said they didn't like Marcus Peters, right? Yeah, that was huge. I knew it was. I think it was Justin. He's like, I don't like Marcus Peters.
Doesn't like Jalen Ramsey either.
He just barks, bro. They just.
The 18th overall safety I just saw a report is visiting the Patriots right now. Taylor Rapp from the Rams.
Yep.
Not very familiar with him. I'm reading. I guess he's very versatile safety.
Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd fit right into the Patriots lineup.
A second round pick, I believe, with the Rams. Back one.
Maybe, I think so. But I'm not mad at it. Depending on, I would like to bring Kyle Van Noy back. I wouldn't be mad at that. Just fits perfectly. There's still some players on here that
DJ Chark had a nice year with Detroit. He's still out there. Adam Thielen is cut. Julian Love is taking a visit to Seattle. So I think Seattle's primed to make some big moves too. I think they have was it Devin Bush that's visiting Seattle? Not Devin Bush. Not Devin Bush. Somebody. I saw it on Twitter today.
Speaking of Seattle, Frank Clark is still a free agent.
Yep.
Don't think he's quite that good, but that's another premier edge rusher from the past. That is third all time in sacks in the postseason. More you know. And Connor McGovern, I think he signed in Buffalo. I had to double check me there.
No, he's still a free agent.
And Ezekiel Elliott. That's the last one. I'm not paying him much money. Some other names include Darius Slayton, McCole Hardman, Jarvis Landry, Julio Jones.
Oh yeah, no, I was
Any
right.
sellers? Any buyers?
Julian Love and Steelers free agent linebacker Devin Bush are both visiting Seattle today.
Good riddance. And Carlos Dunlap is another one.
Good riddance.
Heartless.
Terrible.
In the right system, he could work.
But he actually did help us beat Tom Brady. Other than that, he was mostly useless.
All right, guy. I think we've covered all free agency so far.
We have biggest losers. Do you guys have any outside? For me, it was Cincinnati #1. That was a pretty big one.
Well, what's a team that hasn't? Has a team not been active, not made a move?
A team that's moves you didn't understand, or maybe the lack thereof. Or their losses, like the Eagles. We thought they lost Javon Hargrave, Marcus Epps, and Darius Slay. Now they only lose Javon Hargrave. I think if that's the case, the Eagles have to be winners here. Like, you lose Andre Dillard to the Titans. That's a team that had a good free agency. But Andre Dillard was a backup tackle for them. He's a former first-round pick. You're not losing a whole lot there. Let's draft another tackle to put in the ranks to replace him. So the Eagles have, 7 starters that are free agents, only to lose. Okay, you lost both the linebackers, and you lost a lot of those guys, but you kept your cornerbacks. Now it's really just, okay, can you find a way to maybe keep Chauncey Gardner? I doubt it. But if they were to, they would be a mess. Maybe the biggest winner here, given how much they're able to retain.
They have 2 first-rounders, too. That a lot, we always forget that. So I think that they're playing it very smart. They're like, we'll re-sign these certain guys, but we still have 2 first-rounders at the end of the day, so we're looking pretty.
You know, a move I didn't like, so I wouldn't necessarily call them losers, but I really wasn't a fan of the move. But Detroit signing David Montgomery, letting go of Jamal Williams, 17 touchdowns this past season. I don't think you let that guy go. He was fully invested in that squad. You watch Hard Knocks. Come on. You can't let him walk like that. Wasn't a fan of that.
He made up for that, though, by signing Cam Sutton from my Steelers. That hurt. Cam Sutton for 3 years, $11 million per year, 33 total. 22 guaranteed. Cam Sutton is a dog.
You got Pat.
You did get Patrick Peterson.
Makes no sense whatsoever, dude.
What, the fact that they let the younger guy go to...
No, that Patrick Peterson would go to the Steelers when he was said that he wanted to compete.
They offer him the most money.
Contender. You've made your money. Go win a Super Bowl, man.
The Steelers are winning a Super Bowl for the Cowboys. I can tell you that.
Went to Kansas City.
With Kenny Pickett on a rookie contract, the Steelers, they're going to be an above 500 team. They have Mike Tomlin. They have
2 years
awesome
left in his
defensive
career,
personnel.
bro. You're not. Are you winning a Super Bowl next 2 years?
Edge rush in football, arguably the best safety, and now you add in Patrick Peterson to mentor a young cornerback we're going to take in the draft. That is, when healthy, a top 5 defense.
Are you winning a Super Bowl in the next 2 years?
We will before the Cowboys. I'll tell you that much.
In the next 2 years,
I saw you tweeting about.
Do you know who's the real loser of free agency of the offseason so far? The Raiders.
Yeah, the biggest losers.
Jimmy G.
They are irrelevant after all.
Jimmy G.
You know the thing. As much of a fan as I am of Jimmy G,
guy.
Seeing Josh McDaniels absolutely tear apart any sort of culture that the Raiders did have before he got there, it's really sad. Getting rid of Waller, losing Derek Carr, who was the franchise, your signing of Jimmy G is probably not favorable in the eyes of Devontae Adams. So maybe he might be out of the door.
He put on a story. If we haven't talked in the last 3 weeks, don't hit me up.
Yikes. I think the Raiders are really the biggest losers.
Dude,
I
he's
don't know.
building
Josh
the Patriots
McDaniels a terrible
2.0.
And that's exactly what messes with my head, man. It really drives me nuts. If your name isn't Bill Belichick, you're not going to recreate the Patriots. Everybody that tries fails. What are you doing? Try something new. Build
I'll
something
go through the list.
Go through.
You got Bill. You've got Pencil. You've got
Joe Judge,
Joe Judge. Just on
Romeo Crennel.
Oh, shout Romeo.
He wasn't that good when he left.
Obviously, we've got Josh.
Brian
Brian Flores and Brian Table, they're the exceptions.
Who?
Flores and Table.
Flores, yeah, he had a good. Yep. Variable. No, not variable.
Josh McDaniels, though, like there's so many guys that are just meant to be a coordinator, but are terrible head coaches.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels is an awful head coach. He's a terrible leader. He didn't get invited to Darren Waller's runs. Like, you know what? Okay, I'll just link it to the NFL Combine. Players don't like him, and that's pretty important. Like some guys get better as coaches, some are just not built to be them. And for McDaniels, great offensive coordinator in New England, but that's where he should have stayed. Like,
Yep.
I look at this tenure for the Raiders, the safety valve, the lifeboat you let sink in Derek Carr. Then you go to Jimmy Garoppolo. I just don't understand what their direction is. Like, you have so many holes. You're investing 20, I think it's 67 million over 3 years, but he's really just a bridge quarterback. And I think McDaniels is trying to save face because, like I said before, the locker room last year was kind of in shambles. They lacked leadership, and I think that's because no player appreciates it.
Yeah, and this has to be said too. David Carr said it, I think. I won't say it as harshly because he probably knows more behind the scenes than I did. But like, let's be honest, McDaniels in New England, Tom Brady was running the show, guys. Like that, I think Brady kind of gets a little bit of a slight there when it comes to how much of a football genius he is. We always think of Peyton, but Brady was running the show. Like it was all going like. Maybe McDaniels, like David Carr said, would call the formation or the set or whatever, but Brady's calling the play. And at the line of scrimmage, he can call whatever he wants in that formation. Like it's his offense. So, and we've seen without Brady, what is McDaniels? Like he was able to make a little bit work with Cam, but it wasn't very productive. Now he didn't have the weapons, but still we've seen McDaniels pick his own ingredients and them not work. So, I think McDaniels is after this run. I truly believe he's going to kind of be. We're gonna, know the full truth that it was always Brady. It was Brady the entire time.
I'm not a big Derek Carr guy, but I can't wrap my head around picking Josh McDaniels over Derek Carr. Why would you sign McDaniels in the first place? Why did you hire him? Is my real question.
I don't know. The name value.
It's not good name value. You saw what happened.
I know. They should have went after freaking Harbaugh or Sean Payton. If they really wanted to.
I think it was Jim Irsay lit up his toilet, and then he backed out of the Colts job afterwards, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
it's a real story.
Yeah.
I heard that. But no, I think that the Raiders are really just doing so many head-scratching moves. So many head-scratching moves. I love Jacoby Myers. I get that. But you trade this athletic freak and a tight end. And for what?
Well, to be fair about that move, he hasn't been healthy the last 2 years.
That's fine. That's fine. But you also bring in, like I said, you bring in a quarterback that's not that much better than the quarterback you just had. I'd say Derek Carr's better than Jimmy G.
Yeah, so, Jimmy's not better.
So I think you really lost out. Like I said, Derek Carr was your franchise. You let him walk, and this is what you're doing. You got the best receiver in football. I'd go that far to say Devontae's still number one in my eyes. But what are you doing to make him better? Nothing. I don't know. I don't like the move.
Even Josh Jacobs is pissed they franchise tagged him. I like Marcus Epps for 2 years, $12 million, and also they got Roberts playing for my Steelers 2 years, $7 million. They've been busy. They're mistaking movement with progress, I'm afraid.
Very disappointed.
So, how we forget them? Okay, so this is the team that was honestly the most forgotten winner. The Vikings had a phenomenal day. I'm sorry, Viking fans that may be listening to this and didn't hear Byron Murphy for 2 years, $22 million. Like, he's not an elite number one corner, but for the Cardinals, he was one of the very few good defensive players that they had. You add in Marcus Davenport 1 year, $13 million. You extend Garrett Bradbury 3 years for $16. You even add in Josh Oliver 3 years, $21. I think the Vikings were huge winners. I mean, that's 4 different positions in need while adding in Brian Flores as your defensive coordinator. What can you really go wrong there with? They also restructured Kirk Cousins' contract, so his cap hit for the season is $20 million. Look, the best franchises in football, the real contenders, are teams that know when to pivot, but pivot successfully. And I think the Vikings are pivoting to a new era without Kirk Cousins, where they're going to get a young quarterback that's not making $40 million a year fully guaranteed. And they're the next team that's on the Super Bowl brink. Their GM has done a lot of really smart moves, made a lot of really smart moves. And Brandon, goes crazy. You get surprised. They have Justin Jefferson. He is the best wide receiver in football. If you disagree with me, we're splitting hairs here. Because the last 2 years, think about it this way. He has 5,100 yards through 3 seasons. Next year, he's going to break the record for the most yards ever for a receiver in 4 seasons. God willing, he stays healthy. Defensively, you've added in a ton of pieces, and you take away the biggest negative, which was a terrible defensive coordinator. And you got in a pretty good one, if I had to say so myself. The offensive line at the tackle spots has gotten a lot better in recent seasons with Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw. You have Garrett Bradbury at center. This Vikings team is just a quarterback away. And it's not a quarterback as much as it is a quarterback on a rookie contract, so that they can give him all the pieces that Kirk Cousins hasn't had. That, to me, is why the Vikings, we have to keep an eye on them. We really have to keep an eye on them. With Kirk Cousins having 1 year left in this contract, they're a team that could sneakily take a quarterback in this year's draft class. I would not be surprised if they trade up.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers goes Brett Favre's route. 1 year with the Jets, on to Minnesota.
Now we got to move on. Now we're being crazy.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
We're all being crazy now.
No, but you're right. Minnesota has made some moves, but does it put them over the edge for you? Do you think?
No, it doesn't. John's
their defense is going to get better. Right, we'll see what happens with Darius Smith wants to be released.
It's their division to lose.
It's the Lions, I'm afraid, Justin.
Oh, man. That's Detroit.
March Madness is officially here. So we're not going to spend our entire day previewing the 64 teams, but I want to familiarize some of you guys with some draft prospects and my bracket, per se. If I can find it, I don't even know where I put it. So my biggest sleeper this year in March Madness is UNC Asheville. They play UCLA as the 15th seed, UCLA the 2nd. Then if they win that, they'll move on to Northwestern or Boise State. Keep an eye out on UNC Asheville. They've got a lot of shooting. They've got creative ball handlers, self-creators offensively. You always want to look at the teams that are highly volatile offensively with a lot of shot making. Because when the shots are falling, it's like the Dallas Mavericks. Justin, you're sleeping. I can already tell. Now, I want you guys to look out for Brandon Miller out of Alabama. He's expected to be a top 3 pick. He's going to make himself the 2nd overall draft selection behind Victor Wembanyama, the best draft prospect the last 15 years. Brandon Miller is a sharpshooting wing that can create off the dribble, has versatility. He's gotten a lot better this season. He's arguably one of, if not the best shooter in college basketball at his size. And also of Houston, watch out for Jarris Walker, one of the best defenders in all of college basketball. 2 freshmen. They're both for the number 1 seeds. Obviously, Brandon Miller on the south side and Jarris Walker on the Midwest front. And one last player, Keontae George. I like his game a lot out of Baylor. He reminds me of Bradley Beal a little bit. 3-level scorer, got some athleticism. He is a bucket getter.
John, what about Scoot?
Scoot's in the G League.
Yeah, but isn't he coming out this year?
He is coming out this year, but I'm actually a little bit lower on Scoot because his playmaking needs to develop, and his 3-point shooting at 27% also needs to develop. And his 3-throw shooting at 75% is a little bit lower this year than it was in his first year with the Ignite. So, he'll be a top 3 pick. He won't be here, obviously.
Well,
I'm higher on Brandon.
Yeah, I get, and this is kind of just like a pivot, but just a quick little rant. I get what these teenagers are doing, going to the G League and stuff, and how it probably is maybe better for their career. I just maybe no, not maybe. I'm being a privileged fan over here, kind of just pounding the table saying I wish you were just in March Madness in the college basketball so we could see all these best prospects go at it with each other. I think if Wembanyama was in March Madness, I think this would be talked about so much more. It would be a much bigger deal. but he's not. He's in the G League, and it's just for me that's just a kind of disappointing. You know what I mean?
Wembanyama's in France. Be
Oh,
careful.
sorry. Apologies. But yeah, it's just yeah. Then he would have no shot because he's across the seas. But you know what I mean by these players who go to the G League and don't go to college. I just feel like it's especially with the NIT deals now. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like it's better to just go
We
to
saw Jalen Green getting the NIL deals with the endorsement money.
NIL. Yeah.
Jalen Green's having a lot of stuff handed out to him, and now with the Rockets, they're lacking discipline and leadership on that rebuild. Jalen Green, former second overall pick. That's a little bit of a trend we've noticed with these guys that don't go the college route.
Yeah, I kind of prefer it, especially because I feel like we haven't had this. Maybe I'm wrong, but like this, like everybody taught. I hear it because I wasn't able to watch. I was a kid when it happened. The Carmelo run, when Carmelo was on Syracuse in that run. I just feel like we haven't had that, or maybe I'm just wrong, but
No, you're right. We haven't. You're 100% right.
We're close to Derrick Rose in Memphis, right? Good example of the top prospect taking his team.
Yeah, because you look at like Zion, they got eliminated early. When Lonzo was getting a lot of hype, they got eliminated. I think he got injured, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but it's just like the big names, they seem to get eliminated before they get to the championship.
For the dance, yeah.
It's disappointing. But yeah, go ahead, Justin. The bracket, if you want to go on yours.
My sleeper for this tourney is a team that's in my backyard. I'm a New Yorker. I spent my high school and college years up in New Rochelle. So I'm going to give love to my guy, Rick Pitino, who has absolutely turned around this Iona program since he got there in, I believe, 2021, 2020. I think Rick Pitino is probably one of the best coaches in this tournament right now. Fantastic record from his time in Kentucky, Louisville, and beyond that. I think Iona has an opportunity to really make some noise. Right now in my bracket, I have them going as far as the Sweet 16. But my favorite for the tournament is Illinois. Illinois is always a sleeper team. They make noise when they're in there. They get deep into this tournament. They have a good group of guys. So I have Iona eventually getting bumped out by them. I have Illinois winning this whole damn thing. But Iona's making progress, man.
Pitino has done a phenomenal job, Justin.
I'm rooting for Iona, man. Rooting for my New York squad.
I mean, his first 3 seasons, 12-6, 25-8, 27-7 for a program he came in that was not good and under 500.
No, dude, I remember. So I had no idea that he was coming to New York. I remember driving because I spent a lot of time in New Rochelle, like I said, and I see the Rick Pitino billboard outside. I'm like, oh, this is big time. That New York has been missing their college basketball. Back to the Chris Mullin, St. John's days. We're not relevant anymore. I would love to see the Johnnies. I would love to see Fordham. I would love to see these guys out there participating in the tourney. But Iona is putting New York basketball on the map, so I like that for college at least.
Yeah, I don't really have a super sleeper into my Elite Eight. The lowest seed I got are 2 4 seeds, Tennessee and Connecticut. I'll just give you my championship. Don't take my word for it. I'm not major into college basketball, but
I'm taking your word, Ren.
Then let's take it to the bank, guys. Let's just put all the money down, and if you win, hit my line, cash at me, whatever, Zell. I got Marquette and UConn in the championship game, and I got UConn taking it because Connecticut.
UConn's bounced first.
My championship is Alabama, Texas. That'd be a 1-2 matchup. We don't see that too often.
I have Alabama, Illinois. Illinois winning 72-68.
Oh, this guy's good.
Forget it. You know what, Justin? What? I've got Creighton, Texas.
I got Creighton. Oral Roberts.
I've got Creighton. They're going to be
Roberts is my
second-seeded Arizona Wildcats in the final of the Elite Eight, and then they're going to go to the semis. They're going to beat Alabama, the number 1 seed, and move on to play Texas, the number 2.
No.
Let's see.
Oral Roberts.
So, prospects to watch this year, March Madness. Number 1, Brandon Miller out of Alabama. Number 2, Keontae George out of Baylor. And number 3 for me, Juris Walker. He has developed a little bit as a three-point shooter and passer out of Houston. Those 3 prospects are going to be a lot of fun to make. They're all going to be top 10 picks. So.
Respect.
March Madness is always fun. So do you guys just make one bracket or you just?
I made 2.
Make 2?
I had 2.
Yeah, I got to make another one where I have more upsets in there because you gotta have your upsets.
Gotta get your upsets. Oral Roberts.
Speaking of upsets, Brandon, Leon Edwards. What a
Oh,
one he had in August. Now he has a rematch in London, the Londra. Let's talk about this. I'm pretty excited. That is one of my favorite fights. As a casual UFC fan, I have never quite had a feeling in sports as excited as somebody as I saw Leon Edwards with a improbable knockout. It wasn't Rocky style because Rocky didn't win. Something we haven't quite seen in some time.
yeah. So John is alluding to UFC 286 in London, England, out of the O2. It's happening this Saturday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So the headliner is, you know what? No, I'm going to start from, I'm just going to talk about a couple matchups before that, and then I'll build up to the headliner. So starting off the card, well, a couple guys to watch in the prelims. Muhammad Makayev, he's an up and coming flyweight. He's been talking a lot, so he's just a guy to keep an eye on. Jack Shore moving up a weight class, 16-1. He's a fun prospect. He's headlining the prelims. Excuse me. And then opening up the pay-per-view, we got highly ranked middleweight contest. Marvin Vittori versus Roman Dolidze. I think I'm saying his name right, from out of Georgia. Not Georgia, the state, Georgia, the country. Yeah. Marvin, Italian born guy. You would think I'd be a bigger fan being Italian, but I'm really not. His fighting style is kind of very lackluster. Uh, this fight is hard to predict. I'm not super familiar with Roman. He's had some impressive wins in the UFC. Marvin's, fought the much tougher competition. I would think Marvin's going to be able to get it done, probably by decision, if I would have to guess. Next up, you got Casey O'Neill returning after a layoff. I think she tore her a ligament in her knee last year. She's an undefeated flyweight prospect, 9-0, taking on Jennifer Maia, who's a former championship contender. She fought Valentina for the title, actually won a round on Valentina when Valentina was dominating everybody. I expect Casey O'Neill to get the job done. She's a highly touted prospect. I'm excited for her. This women's flyweight division is the best. Shout out Ariel Helwani. He was right. The women's flyweight division is the best women's division in MMA right now. It's the most exciting. It's got the deepest talent, the most interesting storyline. So I'm hoping Casey can get the job done, because that just makes the flyweights even more enticing to watch. Then we got the return of Gunnar Nelson taking on Brian Barberena. This is more just a straight up. We got a grappler in Gunnar taking on a brawler in Barberena. So it's kind of be a style, a very interesting styles matchup. If Gunnar's able to get the takedowns, he's probably going to be able to win this fight, possibly wrap up a submission. If Barberena is able to keep Gunnar on his back foot, defend the takedowns, he's probably going to get the job done. So it depends on which way you see that fight going. With these fights, these are just the fun fan favorite fights. Hard to really predict what's going to happen. Maybe Gunnar doesn't shoot for the takedowns. Maybe he just gives the fans what they want, a stand-up fight. He's fully capable. The co-main event, which actually low-key I'm kind of more hyped for. This is kind of like the people's main event, in my opinion, even though they're in London. Justin the Highlight Real Gaethje taking on Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev he's a dangerous man, 12-1. He's finished his last two opponents, one of them being RDA late in the 5th round. He's been calling for this Gaethje fight for a while. The lightweight division has been very stagnant. These guys have been just really, the top contenders have just been fighting each other over and over and over again. And it's kind of gotten repetitive. So we're starting to see some newer matchups out there. I'm not that I'm rooting against Gaethje to lose, but I'm rooting for more fresh blood in this lightweight division. Listen, Gaethje's always going to put on a phenomenal performance. He's called the highlight reel for a reason. This guy is a guy who likes to stand in the middle of the octagon and stand and bang. He's going to throw everything he's got. He will, take one to give one. He does not care. This is a fight is going to be action packed from start to finish. I expect. I don't expect this to go to the ground at all unless somebody just gets a knockdown, because these guys are not grapplers. They're pure strikers. Now, Gaethje is more reckless abandon guy, brawler, while Fiziev is more of the technical tactician guy. Relies more on speed and precision and accuracy than power and just pure aggression like Gaethje does. So I really I see Fiziev being able to catch Gaethje, and I think he's going to be able to finish him. I'm not going to stamp my approval on that because Gaethje's a tough SOB. If this was maybe 5 rounds, maybe Fiziev would have been able to get the finish. But I expect an action-packed fight. I think this is going to be fight of the night. Has a chance to be fight of the year candidate. I got Fiziev being able to win that fight. Then we talk about the main event, the fight in which this card was built on. The reigning defending champion, brand new champion of the welterweight division, Leon Rocky Edwards from England, is taking on the former long reigning champion, Kamaru Usman. This is the trilogy in this fight. Their first fight happened back in 2015. I've said this before. Both fighters were very different from what they are now. Back then, they were basic versions of themselves right now. Usman was a strict wrestler and Leon was a strict striker. That's what they were back then. And Usman was able to get the job done, unanimous decision, 3-round fight, just grind on him, take him down, beat him up against the cage. Very similar kind of to how the fight was going for majority of the rounds in their rematch. But now Usman has developed a nice jab and become a little bit better at the striking game. He's still basics, but he's developed a nice jab, and as long as you got a good jab, other things will open up for you very well. Leon, on the other hand, has improved very nicely in his grappling and his wrestling, more his wrestling defense. We did see his offensive wrestling. He was able to take Usman down in their rematch in the first round, which was a surprise to everybody, including me. Did not see that coming. Now, we go back to their second fight, and I know John, you watched the whole fight, I'm pretty sure. So in the second fight back in August, they fought in Utah. Now, if you guys know anything about Utah, the altitude is different over there. So Leon, before the fight, was saying he showed up, I believe, 2 weeks before the fight to get himself acclimated, and he was on an interview maybe 5 days before the fight, and he said, I showed up 2 weeks early. The altitude isn't affecting me. I'm not, nothing's going on. I'm feeling good and whatever. Then the fight happens, right? He wins round 1, surprisingly. Gets the takedown, able to control him, land some good shots. I think he actually was landed all his shots in that round if you look at the fight stats. But then after that, he just looked like a completely different fighter. He looked demoralized. He looked shot. He had no answer for Usman after the first round. And Leon attributed that to the altitude. He believed the altitude really, really affected him in the fight. Now, I just told you that he said he showed up 2 weeks before, and he said that it was not affecting him. So you take that however you want to take that, right? Now, from 2, 3, 4, and 4 minutes of round 5, Usman dominated. He was able to clinch Leon up against the cage, land some shots, take Leon down, control him, and that's really it. He was just be able to basically just dominate position, control him. And then you go into the 5th round. If Herb Dean, the referee, doesn't break up the final clinch between Usman and Leon, that goes the final minute. Usman retains his title, winning 4 rounds to 1, 49-46, unanimous decision, and he's and still champion. But Herb did break it up with about 1 minute and 12 seconds, maybe something like that left. And Usman did not re-engage the takedown or the clinch, which was an error on his part, because they gave Leon the opening to land a beautiful technique. With not taking anything away from that. He feinted the shot, and then threw a beautiful head kick because Usman put his hands down and kind of leaned a little to the right. Headshot, pound for pound, dead. Right? That's the quote that he gave after the fight. Great quote. Really great quote, actually. I give Leon the credit for the preparation of that kick because there were footage before the fight that he was preparing that exact combo. And I understand. And when I say that it was lucky, I'm not saying the technique or the skill wasn't lucky, right? I'm saying the kick at that point in the fight, getting the exact look that he wanted after trying to get it the entire fight, that was lucky, right? Because I don't think that's going to happen again.
There's nothing wrong with that either. It's just fortunate. It has to be the right
Yes.
setup, right preparation. He took full advantage.
Yep. I mean, everybody knows the definition of luck or what they say about luck. It's when what is it? Preparation and
Opportunity meet.
an opportunity meet in the middle, right? So fair play to him. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying in that exact moment, a lot of things had to go right for that head kick to land. Now going into the third fight, it's in London. I expect Usman to honestly dominate the fight. I'm going to be honest with you. I expect a much more heavy wrestling and clinch game. I don't think that he's going to make the mistake that he did last time. I can't ignore what happened for 19 minutes, a little bit more than 19 minutes of a 25-minute fight. I can't ignore it. I can't ignore what happened in their first fight, even though it was in 2015. I can't ignore that. The majority of the fight, Kamaru Usman was dominating and winning. Now with Leon though, right? He has a shot. I'm not gonna. Everybody's got a shot. He's got a real shot. I mean, he freaking knocked the guy out clean, cold. 7 months ago, I think it is. It is now. He said the altitude screwed him, and why he didn't look good and didn't perform the way he wanted. If that's the truth, right? If that is the truth, then on his worst day, he was still able to get the finish on Usman, right? So you would expect that now, possibly on his best day or one of his best days, it should be a much easier fight for him, a much more competitive fight. I'm not saying he's going to get the finish, but he should be able to win, I believe. Now there's no excuses though. You're in your home country. You're on your own soil. I look at it. He's the better striker overall, right? There's no question about that. I believe he's the better offensive grappler. I believe defensive grappling, they're kind of equal. Wrestling is obviously Kamaru Usman. Leon has a chance, but I say Usman by unanimous decision and new. And I do believe this. There's a possibility of a retirement after this fight if he does win or loses. I do think Usman might walk away very soon, if not this fight, very soon. But that's how I see it. I see Usman winning by unanimous decision and getting his title back.
I would like to say, I expect the same thing. I think Usman wins this. My prediction. Does it go to the full 5? We'll see. But that was one of the greatest moments in UFC history, too. And even if Usman dominates Leon this upcoming fight, it won't even matter because we're always going to remember this 10, 15, 20 years from now. The second fight between these two was one of the most miraculous moments, not only in combat sports, but I feel like in all sports history. Maybe that's a little bit, hyperbolic to say, but to me, as a football and basketball fan, it truly was. And you made a great point. Usman dominated on the grounds. Like, Leon was not as comfortable. And if Kamaru can really take advantage of that and doesn't back out of that, just asserts his will on the ground, on his own home soil, I think this could be finished in 3 or 4 rounds. Just dominates him. And that's not crazy to say because, they're the same size. He's actually 2 inches shorter. But he is just way more comfortable, especially against the cage as well. And you can see a clear mismatch in that part of the fight.
Yep. We're gonna really find out if the If the altitude had a real reason, if that was the reason, we're gonna find out. Like the talk has been done, right? Listen, Leon is being asked questions like he's saying things that like Usman's ignoring the knockout. If he wants to live in like kind of fairy tale land, but I just feel like Leon, you're forgetting what happened the entire fight before the head kick. Like, yes, you got the head kick, you threw it, beautiful technique. But you're forgetting what happened the entire fight. So again, it goes back to he said it was the altitude. We're going to find out Saturday night. We're going to find out. Is he
Edwards
telling
has
the
to
truth?
fill up his mindset for that.
Yep.
Though.
Is he telling the truth? False confidence? Or is he lying to the world? We're going to find out Saturday night. That's why they fight the fight. Can't wait.
Joy. Steelers going to the Super Bowl. That's like my last thought for the show.
What? What is that, Justin?
Good night, John. Good.
What is he saying this?
Steelers going to the Super Bowl. Yo, Kenny Pickett's going to have a nice year, bro.
I want to agree with you, Justin.
Why didn't you take Juju back? Why didn't you take him back?
We don't need him.
You love him so much.
Brandon better learn how to gritty, bro.
He's going to have to love those TikTok dances.
Dude, Mac Jones doesn't get a gritty. Everybody knows it.
Yo, if Juju catches for over 1,000 yards in this season, I need you to start recording your own TikTok dances. I would pay to see that.
No.
I'm not paying. If that happens, Brandon, with all this game that you're talking, man.
I'm not disrespecting Juju. We just need a 1. That's all I'm saying.
D-Hop by the end of the week, next week.
I feel like you're complaining.
If he does, I'll be very happy camper.
He does get on Madden.
Hey, guess what? Shazam 2 tonight.
Is that a movie?
Yes.
Damn, John.
Jesus Christ, John.
I would like to add one last thought, actually.
This guy.
Jordan Love.
Oh
this is his opportunity right now for the Packers.
Hey, play lose yourself on this clip too, John.
And I just want to let you guys know we're going to come back in a year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to say, you know what, John?
Mm-hmm.
You were right. Jordan Love is going to be a top 10 quarterback one day. That won't come in year 1. But when he gets those reps, you'll see him.
But that's not even a big improvement because you believe he's a top 15 right now.
I don't. I think he's one of the first. Here's the issue, Brandon. In sports, there's a difference between the 15 best and the 15 I would take. I would take Jordan Love as my quarterback and roll the dice before I'm taking Daniel Jones because I have a clear idea of Jones, but I know the upside with Love is a lot more realistic.
Daniel Jones is going to throw for 25-plus touchdowns. And
are you sure about that? Because the last 4 seasons, he's had more games played than touchdown passes.
I don't know about that, Chief.
Guaranteed.
I don't know about that, Chief. You're guaranteeing a lot of stuff, buddy.
I am a betting man.
No, Justin, you want to know what? Let's bet right now.
Give me over-unders on
No. We'll talk.
I'll take it right now. Let's go.
We'll talk stuff, but
26 touchdown passes for Daniel.
Touchdown pass? Like passes or total touchdowns?
Passes. This last year, he had 22 with rushing included.
I'll take the under. Like I said, 25.
Yeah, see,
wow, look at him.
I don't think the Bills ain't making it. The Bills ain't making it. Championship game, Justin. Did you remember who's the king of the bets on this show?
Who is
the
it?
only thing Brandon's got to his name.
It's this guy. Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
How was it you?
Oh, let's count the ways. Let me pull it up real quick. Here we go. Justin, you were actually the only one to beat me in a bet. You bet me, I bet you the Rams would sweep the 49ers. You won that bet. Congrats. I bet you the Carolina Panthers don't come in last place. They didn't. They were all tied. All 3 of them were tied.
They'd win the division.
That's a voided bet.
Okay, but still. I bet Justin.
Come on. All 3 of those teams finished 7-10. I don't know.
Yeah, but that ain't coming last. It's still tied for second.
Tied for last.
And if you look at the thing, they're number 3, so they didn't come in last. I bet Justin the Broncos would beat the Texans. You made that.
And they got by the skin of their teeth.
Doesn't matter at the end of the day. And then I got John twice with the Patriots beating the Steelers and the Bucks beating the Seahawks. So I'm the king of the bets.
Yeah, but I do pretty fine myself.
Yeah, but I've beaten you twice.
I do pretty fine. Yo, when they start dropping the over-unders on these apps,
that's why I was really hoping the Knicks and Heat met in the first round, but
I don't want that.
yeah, of course you don't want that.
I don't.
But you could talk about your takes like the NFC East or
None of them won a Super Bowl, so
the 49ers
that's
missing
true.
the playoffs.
none of them won a
NFC
Super
East.
Bowl, John.
Rams make it into the
teams.
playoffs. They won 5 games.
Oh,
I had them as a playoff team too, but I was
yeah. So what are you talking about?
Buccaneers behind them.
Patriots winning 12 games.
Those weren't official
Steelers
bets, though.
winning
Those were
7.
predictions.
Oh yeah, I'm
We
just.
all had bad
just-
predictions. We all had bad predictions.
Listen,
the Saints winning 11 games. I know.
Okay, if you're the king of the bets, I've done well with my predictions.
Nah. I mean, John won the prediction. You came in last
I'm the
place
king of
in our
good
predictions
takes.
thing.
That's what
What do you mean?
You came in last place in our the total games when we pick all the games. Pick them.
Yeah, because I didn't pick like
You
2
came in
weeks.
last. It doesn't
That's
matter.
why.
It doesn't matter.
Yo, if I would have picked those 2 weeks, I'm in first place.
It's called preparation.
Yo.
50% of the job is showing up, and you didn't show up.
Jordan Love next year is
going
going to throw 26 touchdowns. Justin.
What?
Jordan Love next year is going to have more touchdowns than Daniel Jones. He's gonna
I don't think
Make
Jordan
that a
Love
bet.
even throws 20 touchdowns.
Oh,
next
make that
you
a
don't
bet.
know,
Let's
ball.
make that a bet.
You know,
now.
if you're making that, that is such a bad take. Oh
year.
my
So come on.
Come
What's
on.
the bet?
They have to stay healthy in order for us to.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Here's the
you're a
stipulation.
No,
cop.
I set the groundwork. I'm doing you a favor because Daniel Jones has been injured in the last couple of years too. So you're welcome.
Daniel Jones played a full season. Okay.
Who throws more touchdowns next year, Daniel Jones or Jordan Love? I'm taking J Love.
Daniel Jones.
Okay, this is a bet.
Pick'ems, but you guys.
Yo, that's your twin, bro. You should be rooting for him.
Who, me?
I don't
Daniel
look
Jones.
like Daniel Jones.
Yeah, who looks like Daniel Jones?
John.
Oh, okay. Did you see my pick? The thing I texted you just in the chat.
Yeah, I didn't think he looked like him.
Oh, come on! He looked just like.
I think John looks like Daniel Jones. I saw a video of Daniel Jones seeing Darren Waller and them greeting, and I was like, holy shit, that's John.
John doesn't look like Daniel Jones.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it.
Jeez, that was an awkward video to watch.
So- I'll take Daniel Jones over Jordan Love. Any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
$25 on it then. With all that being said, I'll wrap up episode number 85 of the Wise Guys podcast.
86.
Thank you for watching and staying to the very end. Oh, it's 86? Really?
86.
I think you're lying to yourself, BC. It's 85. I was doing a thumbnail
Let me
before.
check right now. Give me
With
two
all
seconds.
that being said, that was episode 85. We'll see you next time.
Stay classy.